My website is currently under construction, so if you go to freerent.org, you will not see the website. But what I do is I'm in the property management industry. Been in that for a number of years. And what I do is I show new people how to get in the business of apartment management and become successful in doing that, because rent is very expensive, and it's one way. It's not the only way, but it's a way that people can save money on rent. So that's what I do. And my telephone number, if I can leave that, it's 323-829-4264. If anyone has any questions or if you think you'd like to learn a little bit more, feel free to give me a call. So thank you so much.
Okay, so Calvin, any phenomenal women in your life that directed you?
Well, my mother, I give her kudos. She is the one that helped me become the man that I am. Thank God for my mom. She's a great lady. My wife of 13 years, Miss Gentle Johnson.
Okay.
She is my backbone and my helpmate.
Okay.
So I thank God for her too. She's recently had some surgery, but she's coming along, doing better. She's a fighter. So.
How long you guys been married?
13 years.
Oh, wow.
13
long
years.
time. Well, that's a long time. You have children?
Excuse me, 14 years.
14 years. Oh, yeah. She might have something to say about that one. You have children?
We don't have any kids.
Okay, so just the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we married late.
Oh, okay.
And so that's part of it. But we've been together 14 years, known each other about 20 years. So.
Okay. So with I'm of the opinion that the reason Hillary Clinton didn't win wasn't because of all her politics. I think it had nothing more to do than the fact that she was a woman. What do you think?
I disagree.
You do? Okay.
Respectfully disagree.
Okay, well that's a good thing. What I've noticed in the news with all that's been going on with the politics is all of a sudden the GOP seems to have a real issue with women, and I find that quite interesting. I know I have been, hey Candace, I have been in the entrepreneurial world for about 30 years. So it's been a long time since I've worked within a corporation. But I do know when I did work within a corporation, there were definitely limitations for me as a female, which is why I got out, as opposed to people that had comparable positions to myself that were male,
right.
That there definitely appeared to be a ceiling for me. And then I had just the desire to be my own boss anyway. So I call my own shots.
Right.
and I really haven't. But I have run across some situations where there's been males and I have butted heads in those environments because I have a very strong personality and I'm not afraid to say it.
Right. Well, that's good.
and
that's
speak
good.
up for myself. But there are other women out there that don't have that. They're not comfortable doing that. They're afraid of losing jobs and so forth. But most of my friends and most of the people I know, we happen to be entrepreneurial. So I haven't encountered that in a long time. But I do have some people that has been a major issue for them. And with all the things, some of the political issues that are going on, it goes against the power of a female. I mean, when you talk about abortions and eliminating those services that are for their children, when we talk about our education, those all seem to be counter women.
I can't disagree. Obviously, there's a lot of change that has taken place with the Trump election. I'm a person who's hoping that this will somehow play out in a positive way. So I totally understand what you're saying, because obviously there have been ceilings that individuals have had to overcome. Black folks, we understand that. Male, female, we understand that. So I definitely don't disagree with what you're saying. But when it comes to Hillary, the only reason she didn't get in because she's a woman. I think there were some other factors.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll expound on that. Candace, who is on Facebook Live with us, she says, "Looking great, ladies," and yes, the Good Old Boy Network. And she also said, "Men in corporate America, that women should be secretaries and take notes only." And that's her. She's of the opinion. So I'm going to introduce our guest because she can jump in here because she actually does work for a corporation, her job, but then her passion job. We're going to talk about that as well, which could be possibly why she feels and why she's doing what she's doing. And she actually happens to work in a very male-dominated field. And so I would love to have her input. So I am going to introduce you to Alisha White Madison. And she's a dynamic Los Angeles-based business professional with more than 20 years of experience working with top corporations, including IBM, Chevron, Ernst & Young, Northrop Grumman Corporation. Alisha's career has included time on the East Coast, the South, the Northwest, the Midwest, Canada, and now back to her hometown of Los Angeles. Seasoned at corporate accession, Alisha recognizes that women are more cautious and reserved in how they network, limiting their opportunities to comfortable connect, exchange ideas, share experience, and collaborate professionally. As a result, in 2016, she founded the organization, the Bella Network, which is incorporated as an LLC. She is not mentoring, coaching, or when she's not mentoring, coaching, and volunteering, Alisha loves spending quality time with her husband and dog and curled up with a good book. Always up for a bit of adventure, Alisha is an avid Harley-Davidson motorcyclist and world driver, which I actually just saw some pictures, and I did not know that.
I have my own bike.
Oh, wow. How cool. I have some good friends this weekend. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Krista.
Glad to have you. So let me tell you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One thing about her is she... we had another guest and who called me and let me know late last night that she was ill. So I put a call out to my network and she got my back. So
I sure do. Always have your back.
Oh yes, thank you. So I'm gonna divert a little bit because the Harley Davidson. I was this past weekend. I spent. Why is people calling me? I spent this weekend with my girlfriend. It was her 55th birthday. Uh-huh. And we had a pajama party, and it was called Pajama and Pearls, and it was 12 of us actually, and we went down to Newport and we rented a condo there, and we spent the weekend, and several of my friends ride bikes. Okay. And I don't know if you know Steve Crane?
No.
Okay, Steve and his wife Teresa. Teresa got a bad bike, man, bad. So there's a whole crew of them that go out riding on the weekend.
Okay,
so I have
that's
to introduce
fabulous.
You, let you know about them. So welcome.
I'm so excited to be here, Krista. I really appreciate this. This is fabulous. I love your show with you and Gilbert, and appreciate all the information and knowledge that you share with our community. It's just priceless.
Thank you,
priceless.
Thank you. So tell me about the Bella. Well, first let's talk about your corporate world.
Can I just interject on
that
one question you asked?
Can.
Because when you said when you asked about, do you think Hillary Clinton lost just because she was a woman? I was amazed at some of the conversation that I heard at in my corporate career.
Okay.
From men who just refused. They didn't care who else was running. They just would not vote for a woman. Just could not see it. Felt that a woman would be too emotional, that some of the things that a president would have to deal with would just be incomprehensible, to think that a woman would take on that role. And so just from some of the things that I heard, and these were, very well established businessmen that make sound decisions all the time, and there was no sound basis other than they just couldn't vote for a woman. So I know there were men out there like that just wouldn't do it. Not to say that there was a large majority, but I did get to hear from a large majority that said it. So,
and she works at Northrop Grumman, and there's some engineers, and actually she's a chemist. So she has been operating in a male's world for a very long
time. Very long time.
You were in the thick of it. May I comment on that?
Sure.
I deal with a lot of people. Obviously, I deal with a lot of people, and of course you do too in your environment. But the thing I was hearing from a lot of men is that her background, the Clinton background, I've looked at both sides myself as well, and I base my decision on, I just want the president to do good, but as a female being president, I have no problem with that. The most qualified person, There are women running corporations all over the world. The German Chancellor Merkel, she's a female doing her job. So I mean, all men don't feel that way.
You're right.
So.
No, I totally get
no.
that.
And
Yeah.
we're,
That's what I'm
we
saying.
know that.
It was amazing to hear these men that vocalize that, because I'm like, really, you guys are intelligent. You should be able to think past that.
Right,
but
exactly.
they just didn't. So.
And I find it interesting, I guess, because I know when my mom, when I was growing up, she was a single mom, a single parent, and the things that she was capable of doing. Gilbert and I spoke of this last week. My mom did some amazing feats with the very limited resources that she had. So when you think about a company, running a company, she actually is running a company. Mm-hmm. She's running the company of her home, right?
That's right.
And a lot of times she don't have a lot of backup. Some women are blessed to have a mate that is definitely there and have their back, but not all women have that. They're raising their children. Mm-hmm. And even if they have a very successful husband, a lot of time it's the wife that's at home mm-hmm. running the whole show while he brings home the money. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes she's working as well. So she's working and being in corporate America, and she's coming home and having to be the commander in chief at the house. And so it only makes sense that she would be capable of running a country.
Well, 70% of the black households are female-headed.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
There's no question about sisters doing a great job in many cases, holding down families and households, and they need to be recognized. So
they really
totally
do.
agree.
And when you look at the individuals in our community that have become successful, they're the product of single family homes. Their mm-hmm. mother mm-hmm. is the one that raised them. Some of them don't even know who their fathers are. Mm-hmm. So we definitely, and it's interesting that a country that is a leader or have been a leader up until this year, has been a leader in everything, that we're the last country that doesn't have a woman that, and even our Congress and our House of Representatives, there's a sprinkle of women.
Yeah, when you look at the percentages, it's very low.
Yeah, very, very low. And I know when we talk about corporate America, those CEOs, you can count those on your hands, unless she starts her own business.
That's true.
But for coming from within, then that's a little bit different. So I think it is the time of the woman. And I've always said, even before Hillary ran, and you think about, would we have as many wars? Because, mothers tend to be, they break up fights. They're the negotiator. They're the everything, man. I know in my world they were.
Yeah, when you see women usually have to put their thinking hat on to resolve issues where men put their muscles to use.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the pairing of the male and the female, because we have strengths. Women have strengths, mm-hmm. and I've learned the hard way to trust my wife's intelligence and her fortitude, and because there are times that obviously she sees that perspective that I don't see as a male, because men tend to be very aggressive or overly aggressive sometimes, mm-hmm. and that many times women can kind of bridge that gap. So,
and you saw that with President Obama and Michelle Obama. Mm-hmm. Just an amazing compliment to one another. She, where his weakness, she had her strengths, mm-hmm. and where he had his strengths, she had her. May have had weaknesses, and they mm-hmm. just made such a wonderful couple. Mm-hmm. And partnership that they have, and I believe that they're going to carry that on in their post-presidential world.
But the beauty of it is they use that synergy for good, in that they supported each other versus him seeing it as a threat to his manhood, or exactly. a threat to his sense of being, chief. Yeah. So that was the beauty of it.
Yeah, it really, really was. And then when you looked at the two of them, when he looked at his wife, after they've been married as many years as they have, that you just still saw as if he just met her yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
And that was just awesome, man.
I know every woman was wishing they had a man that looked at them the way he
you
looked
looking at me like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you call my wife, she might say that.
Okay, well, good.
Kind of following up with the same patterns.
Well, good, excellent.
So that would be wonderful if all wives could say that.
Yeah, that would be really, really great. That
he needs to have a class. He should teach a class.
Yeah, I know.
To husbands. Yeah.
Maybe we can get him in on the Bella Network. Wouldn't that be
Bella
an
Network surf? Yeah,
wouldn't that be
it
awful?
hurt too.
So I because I knew after we spoke yesterday and we text back and forth that we were going to be on a show, and so before we lead into what the Bella Network is and why you found it and felt the need to do so, I found something that I thought was very interesting, and it was why women from Apple, Facebook, and Tesla are joining this Silicon Valley incubator. And it talked about the very things that we've talked about, and that women have, especially in corporate America, it was very difficult for them to break that glass ceiling. And so these women came together and collaborated in order to create this organization that could help them solve the pipeline problem of being able to move up the ladder. And it's called the Club. I think it's called the Club. Founded in 2013. It's an acronym for Connect, Lead, Unite, and Build. It's a diverse community of professional women with over 200 members. It's a membership organization, and they offer networking, member-led skills development, and other programming relevant to their career advancement. But it's for women in the tech industry. Mm-hmm. And so it sounds along the same premise of. But it's interesting because obviously we know in the tech industry we're not well represented in that industry. So this is for women of non-women of color to come together so that they could create. It says here, when a company needs to fill a leadership position, whether it's a CEO, CIO, CTO, general counsel, director, or project leader, they need not look any further than Club. So kind of what we've been talking about for what we're doing for our community. So I think that's going to segue us into tell us about the Bella Network and why you founded it.
So I founded the Bella Network because as a corporate person, I realized that even within my career, it was hard for me to find someone either that looked like me or another woman that was there to spend time and invest in me and help me over some of the hurdles or the challenges or what we call in corporate America the landmines.
Okay.
So that you didn't step on them. If you did step on them, how do you recover?
Okay.
And so, but through my career, I actually found some men who helped me and supported me and gave me feedback. But it was always from a man's perspective. And of course, you know, Crystal, that sometimes women, we can't show up like men show up.
No.
And so I would have to.
I know a few that do that.
Yeah, but many people don't embrace it. It's not always what's embraced.
Right.
And then that's not really being true to who I am. And so I had to figure out how to show up with a feminine flavor in a man's world. Mm-hmm. And so, but then as I was going through my career, I would always reach back and help other people with that. And so what I started doing and seeing was that there were so many women, not just within my company, but within my circle that needed that kind of support. And we were asking the same questions. And so I started getting people together at my home, and we would answer those questions together.
Okay.
It really became evident when I would have young girls' slumber parties, and the women from corporate America would come to answer the girls' questions, but the people asking the questions ended up being the older women that had questions, and we spent a lot of time with them. And so I'd come to realize, well, you know what? There are all these youth programs that are out there to help youth and for youth to get access to mentors. But where's that program for that 25-year-old,
right,
that 35-year-old, that 45-year-old? And as we grow through our career, there are all these new landmines that we have to step over or we step on and we need to recover from. And so then who do we ask? And Krista, you know, most women, we go to our mothers. Like you even said, your mother was the one who really kind of molded and supported you. Mm-hmm. But yet if your mom didn't walk the path that you're walking, she's going to give you emotional support. She's going to give you those emotional answers that are going to help you feel good about yourself and make you feel better about the situation. But it may not be the appropriate way to respond once you get back to work. It could actually dig you deeper in a hole. And so as women, we need to start helping each other maneuver past those landmines. And so, it's giving women who have reached the pinnacle of their career an opportunity to turn around and find women that they can support. And many times when you're climbing the ladder, you don't have time to turn around and look back. But by the time you have time to turn around and look back, there's nobody there.
Right.
At least nobody there that looks like you.
Right, exactly.
And so then it's harder to try to, find those people. And so what the Bella Network is about helping those people come to the surface. And so we have a membership program that people can join, and we'll help to make sure they have the right leadership skills, that they receive the right coaching, so that we can then connect them to the right resources that are either executives at corporate America or that are entrepreneurs that have the experience or the wisdom to help them with whatever opportunity they're working on.
And that's very necessary, because I believe, when you look at young men that are coming into corporate America, there's just an abundant supply of mentors for them. Mm-hmm. But there is not an abundant supply of mentors for women, especially walking, and even on an entrepreneurial in the entrepreneurial space as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Crystal, the biggest problem with that is a lot of men don't like to mentor women because sometimes it looks inappropriate. And so I've had men tell me all the time, well, we have to go somewhere, I can't just take you to lunch. We have to go somewhere where, there's other people. It's just because, again, to them, when you're, say, a 55-year-old man and you're going out with a 25, 30, to some men that is inappropriate.
And I guess that's saying, and in fact, there was something on Facebook this week. Michael Bazian just started his show back again, mm-hmm. and so he's been very a lot of activity on Facebook. And there was a question, I think, last week that was, could men and women just be friends in a platonic without there being any indication or innuendo about sexual attraction to one another? So I guess if that's the case, they're saying that that's not two separate concepts. That you can that a man can help a woman or to be friends with a woman without there being some indication that there's some sort of attraction to them.
Well, you would hope in corporate America that's the case, but still we're dealing with human beings.
Right, exactly.
We're dealing with human beings that were raised a certain way, to think a certain way. You have, men that feel a certain way, look and so you're dealing with the human race.
Right. Basically. Yeah, the human race. So then the Bella Network, I know so I'm going to give you a little history on how she and I came together. Mm-hmm. One of our friends, a mutual friend, I believe she's involved. She is involved in the Bella Network as well. And she's a physical fitness celebrity.
Yeah.
But she's a guru in this, boy. She lives and breathes physical fitness. Her body is just like off the chain, but it's not. Yes, right, exactly. But it's something.
She's a physical fitness therapist, so it better be tight.
Right, it's tight. Well, she walks the walk. So, but she's her own advertisement. She's her own advertisement, right. But she also truly believes in what she does, and there's a passion and a love for what she does. So it's just not something that she is not an occupation.
She's not just in it for the money.
She's not in it for the money. She's in it because she truly believes it. And so I participated in a Zumba class that was at her studio when she had it open, and then she called me one day and asked me could I participate in this convention that was coming up, and if I would speak on networking. Mm-hmm. And so Alisha and I spoke, and it's like, wow, we connected. And being the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, it is very important to me that we as people connect and collaborate with one another. And so the concept for the Bella Network was awesome. And this young lady here, she was able to bring 20 of us together, 20 coaches together. Most of us didn't even know each other. And we gelled so well. Mm-hmm. It was like she handpicked us. And she goes, oh, yeah, this one will work in this mix. She didn't do any of that.
Yeah. It was really amazing because even when I wrote up the descriptions of what we wanted to cover during the 3 days of our women's conference, each one of the 20 perfectly fit with what they had to offer. And so when I would ask women to help me as a coach and coming in and do a session, they'd say, oh, but that's my competition. Oh, no, if you have so-and-so, you don't need me. And I'm like, no. I see you doing something totally different. So when we got together and all of them started to talk through what their specialty was, there was no overlap.
No overlap.
Every single person had a different expertise and had a different focus. And the amazing part was it actually even aligned with what I had planned out for the day. So it was just God sent.
Oh, it was perfect. It was 3 days of just awesomeness.
Awesomeness.
And so I acquired 20 more wonderful women friends. And so some of us have outside since the conference, we've come together. We've come together a couple more times with Alisha. She has these powerful conferences at her house. And this weekend, in fact, so another 50 strong this weekend.
Yeah, we had over 60 women show up and come through. It was an all day. They didn't know what to expect when they got there unless they had been to something of mine before.
Okay.
But we call it networking Bella style. So we don't do the traditional networking where you just walk around the room and haphazardly pass out your card and spend maybe 5-10 minutes talking with somebody and then try to move to someone else in the room. That's not how we network. We network with the focus of we all need to know something about each other. So when we can make a connection, we know enough to be able to do that. If we have a resource, we know how to share it and who to share it with. When you're doing something and something comes up and it says, hey, wait, I remember Carol could use that. So we can make those connections, and that's Bella style.
Yeah, and it truly, truly is.
It's wonderful that sisters, especially community, are coming together like that, because other communities obviously have succeeded using similar techniques of coming together, supporting each other. Nobody's perfect. We've had our issues and things like that, but we work it out and it moves forward. And it sounds like you're on to something fantastic.
People say, well, what happens with the men? Where are the men in this? And I tell people that, like you said, when the neck knows what to do, the head is going to figure it out too, because we're going to help guide them. And so, for me, the focus is if we can get women to be camaraderous and to circle around each other and support each other, men will do it too. And men aren't women are so cautious on how we give out our help and our support.
Right.
And men are usually more giving. And when they have conversations, my husband, it's amazing to listen to him, but his conversation goes immediately to how can we work together and how can we make money.
Right.
Whereas women, it goes to, ooh, girl, I like the shoes, I like the hair, and so we dance around the business and the career questions. And maybe we get there when finally we need a job or we need help. Whereas men, to me, immediately go to how can I support, how can I help, how can we make money?
Exactly. And sometimes women don't get there at all.
Yeah.
Is there a component for the men to participate when the women get together?
Men can come to anything that we do, and we actually have a
well,
man
I mean,
that's
like the husbands in one room, or
no.
Maybe that might be a way to.
But you know what? I tell you this. So
expand.
one of the reasons why I haven't really tried to push men coming. I mean, men can come, and we're not going to shut the door to them. We actually had 2 men participate with us this last weekend, but women talk differently when men are in the room. Women will start to shrink or they become too aggressive when men are in the room. And so right now, at the beginning stages of us trying to create this atmosphere where women start to partner and collaborate more, it needs to be about us women. We need to figure out our own challenges first before we huddle around men. Because we do, women have to acknowledge that we have some professional challenges that we need to work through. One is that we don't trust easily. We second guess ourselves. We don't walk, we show up in the right clothes and the right look, but do we truly have a sense of confidence in ourselves? And statistics show that most women, they got to have 80% of the job description before they'll even apply, whereas men can have 35 to 50. So that's a problem that we need to work out, and then we need to work out ourselves as women. And so there's so many things that we need to focus on, even supporting and helping each other. I tell people, and that was a part of our conference, we talked about trust. See, women's definition of trust is different from men's definition of trust. Men say in corporate America, or even as an entrepreneur, I trust that you can close the deal. Women say, I trust that you will make me feel good.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And so feel good is not going to get you a promotion, but closing the deal will. And so women will say, well, how is it that John got the promotion or he's now manager and I'm not? It's because they don't trust that you can close the deal. And it could be that you're too emotional. It could be that you don't come across with the right look. It could be that you're more trying to be that win-win instead of that win-loss.
Exactly.
Okay, where men are usually win and there's a loser.
Right.
And so that's somebody that people want representing their company because we want to be winners and the competition is losers. And so women have to understand that their definition of business is different than men.
Exactly, and I think we also have to. So part of it, where we are now, is in a healing place. We need to heal us. Now there is a component she did have at the 3-day conference on day 3. For that morning, she had a panel of men, and women were able to ask questions. I think it was moderated, and so there were certain questions asked of how we think and how they think, and then how we had a meeting of the mind, so to speak. And then for 4th of July, it was the holiday season. We had a relationship.
Yeah, we had a relationship session. So my theory is this: if women understand how to deal with men in their dating relationships, you have a better relationship with men in your business relationships.
Right.
Whatever baggage you carry into your dating, you take it with you to work. So if you think men are liars and cheaters, then at work you're going to see them as liars and cheaters. And it's going to come across in your business perspective of dealing with them. And so I've combined myself with some relationship coaches. And there's 2 organizations. One's called Straight Talk No Chaser. We actually have an event coming up this weekend. You can check it out on our website. And then also Keeping It 100 is another organization. And the whole focus of the Bella Network being a part of those organizations is we as women have to overcome how we deal with men and see men.
So we are working. It's just as we're healing. I don't know if you guys have ever read or know of Dr. Joy DeGruy, and she's written a book called The Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And so there is healing that must take place, and we've actually seen it throughout the last couple of weeks when we've watched what went on with Dr. Ben Carson, and as well as the presidents of the universities, the HBCUs, is that there are issues. We have some major issues just that stem from our experience, right, from being in captivity and it continuing on in some form or fashion as we've all grown up. There are people I know when I do business and when I coach that there are such limitations. I was on a conference call. I do a spiritual call every morning, and a week or so ago, we were on a call for 3 hours. And in that 3 hours, the conversation was about just being able to feel comfortable saying, I want to be rich. That was the whole conversation. It's a prosperity.
I don't have any problem saying that.
I know a lot, but you would.
But in our Black culture, there is a problem with that. I mean, there's a book.
Yeah.
There's a book. It's called Opting Out, where even African Americans, Blacks that go to Harvard, still, because our culture says that the people that are important are the ones that are doing something special for our culture's uplifting instead of making money. And so you're selfish in the African American culture if you're only about becoming rich. And so, and I say to people, wait a second, once I become rich, I can do more for our culture.
So much more.
Once I become rich, I can then give back more. I can hire more, And so I tell women that there are only 3% of African American women-owned businesses that have employees. That other 97% is a one-woman show. Wouldn't it be better if it was flipped and 97% of them had employees? Imagine how our culture would be improved if that were the case, so we got to stop wanting to be culturally supportive. We need to start becoming economically supportive of each other.
Because then it changes. We're going to take a break. And if you guys want to get in on this wonderful conversation, hey, Jerry, hey, Reggie, you can call us at 323-293-3375. We'd love for you to call in and be a part of this. Jerry, I know you always have input. Candace, I know you have input. So give us a call. And if you want to see everybody on the show here, you can go to morrismedialive.com. We stream live there. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back to discuss women and men and how we come together as a group, as a people. All right.
Amen. Amen.